Hi, I'm Philip Beattie, and today I'm with Dennis Levinas, and we're members of Blair Gowrie Yacht Squadron, and we're here to talk about ORC Club handicaps. Blair Gowrie has recently adopted this system, and we've created a bit of a groundswell, and people are getting interested in it, and we just thought we'd take a few moments and explain it to everybody. Okay, Dennis?
Yeah, welcome everybody. Yeah, we've been asked by other clubs just to share our knowledge of what we've been going through to date to get ORC Club implemented in our yacht club. So we'll start off with the topics that we're going to run through today. What's an ideal rating system? What is ORC? Different types of ratings that we're looking at. And we'll just have some discussion at the end between Phil and I probably. So we'll go to the first screen. So what is an ideal rating system? Well, obviously it needs to be fair to everybody from cruisers to racers. And the ideal of an ideal rating system is that cruisers and racers can mix together and race together, particularly different sizes and different types of boats. It has to be open, transparent, freely available, have rules that are objective, non-biased and open to input, have ratings that are simple but accurate, flexible scoring options for different course types and easy to use and understand, and be locally managed but available worldwide. And we think ORC Club fits all these categories. Okay.
There's 130,000 boats on the ORC register. So, and multiple countries, there's just so much information that you can get from the ORC website. It's worth a look. We'll get onto that later.
I think it's definitely worth a look. 130,000 people can't be wrong. And it means there's a lot of experience, particularly evidence-based in the end. I think that's important. So ORC is the Offshore Racing Congress. It's an international organisation that's been providing professionally managed measurement and rating systems since 1969. The ORC rating systems use science, technology, including 3D hull profiles to develop the handicap systems. There is no secret formula. It's shared openly. With a complete set of measurements of the hull with appendages, propeller, rig and sails, it's then possible to use the software they've developed, which is a velocity prediction program, and it calculates theoretical speeds for boats in various wind conditions and sailing on differently configured courses. So ORC rating systems are administered by a national ratings office established worldwide in each country, and in Australia, our rating office is Australian Sailing. There's two forms of rating systems that are fully compatible. So they use similar measurements or the same measurements and the same velocity prediction program, and they are ORC International, ORCI as we call it, and ORC Club. So ORCI is mainly used for offshore racing and the more advanced crews and boats that are really keen on doing longer distance racing. ORC Club though, simple to use and it really is suited to club use. And again, that's why our club is heading towards change over to this system. What do you think about that, Phil?
I reckon that's pretty good. And I'd like to say that the Australian Sailing Ratings Office has been more than helpful. Nicholas up there, there's the guy that started it all. He invited the Victorian clubs to an online seminar to have a look at it all. And it just made so much sense to us.
Yeah, particularly it's just easy to use. So the measurement can be provided by the sailors as a self-declared certificate, but in Victoria, we're pretty keen that it's actually performed by club measurers and endorsed by club measurers. For starters, most boats with an AMS certificate already have 95% of the measurements, and a couple more measurements, submit them, and away you go. You've got your ORC Club certificate. The cost for clubs joining the system for the first year is $45 per boat, and for thereon after, $90 a year for revalidation. It doesn't take long to get a certificate. You submit it online, and unless you haven't got a 3D hull profile, it may take a little bit longer, but ORC Club will definitely get one for you. The process is through software. Australian Sailing owns a license to run everything locally. So the calculation for the handicap rating is based on velocity prediction program software. and it's available online for free to us. There's no secret measurements or formulas. All that's on the ORC website if you want to look into that. But that is the power behind this rating systems, and as we go through, you'll see why it's important. So here's an example of a rating certificate, and as we go into the detail, you'll see there's Spinnaker ratings for coastal and windward leeward racing. There's non-Spinnaker ratings, there's short-handed ratings. The certificate's got all your boat details and measurements, shows your sail plan and rig plan. And most importantly, you've got your velocity prediction program target speeds. And you also have access to everybody else's certificates. So that really shows you the transparency and openness of the system. And particularly, it's a huge database. So here you see the application that you'll see online. The yellow boxes relate to the measurement abbreviations next to it, like right at the top, you've got MHB, MUW, etc. If you click over or hover over those yellow boxes, it'll actually describe what the measurement is that's required there. And you fill out the rest of the rig details, what kind of propeller you've got there. There's a few other questions there about your stays, back stays, but it's pretty simple to fill in. And once again, if you have an AMS certificate, this shouldn't take you very long at all. So here's an example of an issued certificate. Got a sail plan there, rig plan, all the measurements are detailed there. We'll move to the bottom half of that first page of the certificate, and you'll see there's a lot of detail in there that's recorded and that you've supplied. And we'll go into the big yellow box. The important part is where you've got your handicap ratings. So there's time on distance ratings and there's time on time. I think most clubs tend to use time on time, but where the power comes in is you'll have a look at the two different types of ratings. And you can see this boat's rated much better windward leeward versus coastal long distance. And I've actually seen certificates where it's the other way around. So it depends on the boat and its ability to perform better perhaps in straight lines versus windward leeward. If we really want to get complicated, I'll just get you to go back there, Phil. We've got the other numbers down there, and this is up to each individual club. You can apply ratings for low wind speeds, medium or high wind speeds as well. So strengths, you get windward leeward ratings and coastal course ratings. The measurements are simple and easy to do. The system's transparent. As we said before, worldwide database access. There is no need to weigh the boat. The 3D hull profile is a better predictor of the boat's speed, but if you do have the weight of the boat, they're happy to take that and include it. It's managed locally by Australian Sailing, which I think is really important, that we should support our peak body. Cost effective, and you can compete in events with ORCI certificate holders. The weakness is you have to have a 3D profile, but our experience so far is just about all our boats are covered by existing 3D hull profiles or sister ships that are already online. And if you don't have a 3D hull profile, they can actually generate one for you from photographs. The other weakness that we haven't put on there is ORC Club can be self-declared, but at BYS, we're going that it's got to be endorsed by a club measurer. So getting started, applications can be done online. Sorry, we've made a mistake on this presentation. It's not on the Australian Sailing website, it's on the ORC certificate website. The ratings start from the 1st of July each year, and it's renewed on an annual basis. So to implement that, our club, we provided a list of boats sailing at the club just to check the existence of a hull file for each of them, and Nicholas at ORC has done a great job. So we've got a hull profile for just about any boat that wants to get an ORC Club certificate. This is the one thing that I think we should all insist on around the bay if we're going to implement ORC Club, is we need trained measurers to actually validate the process and measure the boats. There's tutorial videos on ORC website if you want to have a look at those. Everyone gets a 50% discount for the first year. And as I mentioned before, the ratings start 1st of July each year. So here we are, an example of cheat sheet that we've created at BYS. It tells you how to convert from AMS to ORC Club. Most of the measurements are already on the AMS documents. You just have to reinterpret the abbreviations, but it's all pretty simple. And in most cases, we've found only a couple of extra measurements are required. So summing up, ORCI is an offshore rating. We're obviously not using that at BYS. ORC Club is our focus. We're not going self-declared. We're actually insisting on club measurement just for transparency. And again, it's also transparent in the way ORC Club is calculated. You get the ratings for windward leeward and around the Cairns coastal courses. You get a VPP program and you get target speeds. You can also apply for polar diagrams if you want, and that's another powerful aspect of the ORC Club rating system. You can generate test certificates. There's a small fee involved, but you can measure different sail plans. So if you want to change your spinnaker size or your headsail size before paying thousands of dollars to a sail maker, pretty simple. You can just generate a test certificate with new sail measurements and see what it does to your velocity predictions. There's no weighing required, and AMS to ORC Club is very easy and quick, but also saying that, I don't think it's going to be too difficult for anyone without an AMS certificate. And I'd like to just point out here of interest is we've already got sailors at our club who have never had an AMS certificate interested in applying for an ORC Club. So that's great. It's adding more people that are willing to compete in our performance rating events.
Thank you, Dennis. All this and other ORC Club handicap information will be available on the Blair Yacht Squadron website at bys.asn.au under the Keelboat tab. There is also a short video about navigating the ORC website. Anything to add there, Dennis?
Yes, Phil, I think it'd be very handy to have people have a look at our video on navigating the ORC website, as it can be a little bit cumbersome. But let me say it's well worthwhile learning how to get a handle on it. There's stacks of information there, and there's plenty of interesting stuff about the ORC rating systems. So thanks for having me, Phil.
Thank you, Dennis. We'll see you all on the water.